when you take it, that's what really hits you. It's the fact that maybe your entire life, up until that point, hasn't been authentic. It hasn't been who you truly are. A psilocybin hello, guys. This is now take 3, as I screwed up the other 2. I wasn't actually recording the other one. How did I fix my mind with psilocybin? Clearly, I didn't fix my short-term observation skills. That still needs work. Before psilocybin, I was a hardcore Richard Dawkins-like atheist. I'd get erections for the scientific method. I was 110 to 169% sure that I knew everything, i.e., I knew how the universe started, how it ended. I knew that religion was not true. I knew that I knew better than everyone else. I didn't believe in God. I didn't have faith. Basically, I was the typical science kind of guy. I was studying medicine, and obviously now I've finished, but where I started from was science knows everything, and anything which isn't science and cannot be proved is wrong, which, as you can see, is a big problem. The greatest challenge I faced in the past was that I was ignorant of everything that I didn't know, and I thought that I knew everything. You can see how that's a big problem. The truth is, guys, do we really know anything? My greatest accomplishment in this life has been realizing that I'm a lot like Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. I know nothing, but I've made great leaps and bounds because now I'm aware of the fact that I know nothing, which is a great place to start from. It's far better to actually say, hold on, maybe I don't know, maybe this doesn't make sense to me, and that's okay, guys. We're not supposed to know everything, we're not supposed to have the answers to everything. But I'd like to believe I've taken the arse of divinity and enlightenment, and I mean actual arse, and there's a whole butt crack left to traverse upwards. So, to get to how to fix your mind, or how I fix my mind with psilocybin, we have to have some context. After 6 years of medical school, I have a pretty good foundation in how the brain works, how the mind works, and the relation between the brain, the mind, the body, and the nature of reality. I also have a background as a physics nerd, so you can imagine how often I got laid at parties. Everyone loves talking about quantum mechanics, right, guys? But I'd like to put all these theories together into understanding the universe from a holistic view that takes in the supernatural, the consciousness, the esoteric side of things that science cannot validate and truly doesn't actually need to be validated. You see, the mind is fluid. Not fluid in the sense of a gender studies graduate, but fluid in the sense of it's ever-changing. But we're not aware of that fact. We spend our lives in routines and habits. Every day, we have predetermined responses to situations, people, and even our own thoughts. We think we know stuff. We believe we know stuff. We live this human experience in autopilot. Most of the time, we're not here. Like, we're here, but we're not actually there. The world around us is designed to trap us and confine us to our limited thinking and basically ensure that we never question anything. Because if you question things, you're not going to make the man at the top any money. How does psilocybin, relate to all of this? When I first took it, I was having fun. I was listening to music and engaging in the synesthesia experience. I thought psychedelics were fun, it's a party kind of vibe. You have fun, you enjoy the experience, and you feel good. I had not realized the actual therapeutic potential and the true power that was given to me ultimately. It took much time and self-development to actually be able to use it for higher purposes, which could actually be a pun. Anyway, psilocybin disrupts how you think. If you've thought about something the same way for a really long time, it's super hard to change your belief system. Nobody wants to change what they believe in, guys. Like, it's hard, it's comfortable to say, I know this, and this is my frame of reality, and that's all that matters. And you know what? For most of us, that's fine. But I didn't want to be most people. I wanted a holistic approach to mental health. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to understand what feeling good meant, and more importantly, I wanted to understand why there was a void inside of me. Where did the void come from? What was I looking for? All those sorts of questions that I couldn't get by just reading a medical textbook or a religious text. A lot of these questions I could only answer for myself. but I first had to be open to asking the question. So how did I fix my mind with psilocybin? I think the first step is being open to realizing that you can change. The most powerful aspect of psilocybin is taking a step back, pausing, and being like, hey, you know what? It's okay. Let me consider a different point of view. And because the guys on the internet tell you to chase these things, fair, you probably should chase money. It's gonna help you have free time and purchase psilocybin. See what I did there? But on a deeper level, psilocybin allows you to change how you think by first allowing you to question how you think. If you think of thinking as a set of algorithms or flow statements, like if this, then that happens, psilocybin says, no, we break the statement apart and we leave each variable separately in time and space. You are able to now see intrinsic connections in the way you think in ways that you never did before, which I know sounds a bit hard to understand. And now that I'm saying it aloud, I wonder, do I actually understand it? But let's assume that I do. Otherwise, this video wouldn't make any sense. So now you've questioned how you think. Okay, I questioned how I think. I then went down the rabbit hole, and in the magic mushroom space, I started to deeply reflect on why do I respond a certain way to situations. This is where the true magic in magic mushrooms actually lies. It's the thinking patterns, it's the thought patterns. Asking yourself, why am I responding to something that annoys me, for example? Why does this invoke unhappiness in me? A simple example, I hate washing dishes. I still hate washing dishes. But now I'm present and I'm aware of the fact that, hey, I dislike this and it's irrational to dislike it. It's a simple task, guys. You put it in the sink and you wash it. But how many of you actually enjoy it? I don't know. Apparently these people exist. But I question the thoughts, like, I have to wash dishes. This makes me unhappy. Now that I'm unhappy, washing dishes is now harder to do. In a sense, I've successfully made a task that I already had disdain for harder to do. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like making something you don't like doing harder is not a smart way to live on this planet. And it's a surefire way to waste a lot of time resenting the tasks you have to do. Okay, fair. So now you know that you're thinking. Now you know that you want to change how you're thinking. So how do you actually change that with the psilocybin? So everyone's experience is going to be different. Obviously, guys, don't just take some random guy's words on the internet as the word of God or something like that. For you, your experience might be different. This is just my experience. So I sat down and I stared at the roof, obviously with the psilocybin, because God, can you imagine spending a few hours just like staring at a wall? That sounds very boring. And maybe I should do that at some point. Apparently spiritual people do it. But I sat there and I just thought about thinking, which is not a lot of fun in hindsight. But anyway, I did. I sat and I thought. I thought about how I respond to situations and how I think about the world. And I realized a lot of darker aspects of myself that I wasn't comfortable with realizing. For instance, a lot of my unhappiness and depression I bring about on me. It's because of how I respond to situations. Emotional expression and emotional instability come from a place of lack of self-awareness, of not being present, of not questioning why and how you think about something. Psilocybin allowed me to be, in a sense, what a therapist would be, but inside myself, to look at how I think about the world, pause, and reframe it, approach situations in a new way. And this was just one tiny aspect. You know, this video is called How I Changed How I Think, or something like that. I'll optimize it for SEO, guys. Like, I'm gonna leave that to the future me. But I realized it's actually such a deep topic because it took so much work to actually change how I think that it probably won't be all in one video. So let's say this is the first part, okay? Thus far, what do we know? So, you took the psilocybin, you're thinking about thinking, you're questioning why you respond to situations and why you think the way you do about the things that you think about. Okay, so this is all fine and well, right? You now know this happens, that happens, and I respond like this. Now what do you do? Well, the magic mushrooms once again interact here. When you're in magic mushroom space, you aren't emotionally attached to your thinking process. You are able to pull back from the third person, guys. If you've ever played a Bethesda game like Skyrim or Fallout, you know You can view either in the first person or the third person, and assuming the game doesn't glitch out, bug, and break, you can have a pretty good time in either way. Psilocybin is the third person view. When you see your life through the lens of the third person, you are no longer emotionally attached to what you are seeing and experiencing, i.e., you recognize your responses as momentary transitions on a path to life or in your daily life. You recognize that these are temporary, that these things that you go through are not going to be forever. And I know it's super hard to do that in your normal present day life. I mean, I meditate and stuff outside of psilocybin, but psilocybin makes it far easier to practice that awareness. So I use that awareness, and I'm nowhere near fixed, guys. Like, let's be real. I don't think anyone can ever truly be fixed as per se, and I don't know what a fixed is. Is there an ideal form of the human experience? I don't know, but I can say that feeling good is probably better than feeling bad. You're welcome, guys. Save that as a quote. Feeling good is probably better than feeling bad. And part of feeling good is recognizing that we are going to feel bad. Feeling bad is part of this experience. Fixing your mind is basically optimizing the ratio between feeling bad and feeling good. Because you're always going to go through a roller coaster of emotions. There's like no escaping this. This is the human experience. It is what it is. There is no escaping unhappiness. And maybe there's escaping happiness. I don't know. But by changing how you think, you can reduce the jarring nature of the roller coaster. Will it happen after one trip? Hell no. Will it happen overnight? No. Will you just take a magic mushroom and boom, you've solved all your problems, you think differently? No, that is not how it works, unfortunately. You have to put in the effort, you have to actually sit and self-reflect and do work outside of the mushroom experience to use them as a tool to re-engineer and reconstruct how you think about this reality. So, let's recap. We've changed how we think, or we've at least observed how we think. We're now in the third person mode. We can see our thinking patterns. Events have happened. Now we know how we're going to respond. In psilocybin space, or magic mushroom land, as I like to call it, you can be hyper present. And when I mean hyper present, I mean as aware as you would be the first time you lost your virginity. There's a hardcore example, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's a new experience to experience awareness in such a way. And if you internalize that awareness and you actually bring it back into the deep self, you see your thinking pattern. And then you say, no, okay, I am going to choose to not respond in this way. And it's not that simple. Like, you're not just going to say no and it's just going to be fixed, but you're going to be aware of it. You're going to be present during this process. And for me, at least, I had to do it many times. I had to almost do it like a mantra, like, no, you know, I'm going to not let this bother me. Like, I can choose not to be bothered by it. This is only one aspect of fixing your mind, though. How you respond to things is like one segment of a functional mind. Needless to say, the average mind these days is inundated with porn, video games, and all forms of substance abuse. And guys, the world around us is designed to trap us like rats chasing the next US dollar, globally even. And there's no real escaping, you know, the influence of that. But the first step you can actually take is starting to change how you respond to stuff, which is the first step in fixing your mind, which is the first step in rebuilding your life, your identity, and what's possible. Obviously, I have to probably make a follow-up video to go through another aspect of fixing your mind, which is going to be related to depression. I was depressed. I was depressed for 6 years, and I was on Wellbutrin, and then I was on Psychedelics. Needless to say, being depressed sucks. Now, the word of wisdom right there. And I went off my antidepressants and did work to try and fix my mental health before I took the psilocybin. So you must also keep that in mind. Don't just think you're going to take it and then boom, it's rainbows and stuff. I mean, you'll get the rainbows, but that comes later on, guys. You do the baby steps first. So in the next video, we're going to cover how I fix my mind, but more focused in relation to depression. Because I think the fundamental basis is first being aware of how you respond to situations, because that has the biggest impact on your mood, and your mood can either be depressed or happy. So you got to understand how to affect depression from its basal core And then you can understand how to manipulate how you experience this reality. So if this has been helpful, I'd appreciate to subscribe and maybe comment, or don't, it's up to you. But I would like a subscribe, and I will be covering more on how to fix your mind and some stuff about the hero's dose. And if you guys have any suggestions that you'd like me to talk about, leave it down in the comments below. I've taken a decent amount of these things. I'd like to believe I have some experience. And as a doctor, I'd like to also believe I know some stuff. So let's hope I do, guys. And until next time, I don't have a tagline yet. I will come up with one eventually. Let's see how it goes.